morning, everyone, and welcome to the Damage Report on this fine Big News Wednesday. I have some good news for you. Not necessarily news, but show-related news. So the good news is that at least for this week, Jared Jackson will be joining us on the Damage Report. Obviously, on Monday, he began his new time slot for the watch list, leading up to the Young Turks. So we're going to have to see long-term if he's able to continue doing our show and then producing his show and all that. It is difficult. But I know he wants to, and hopefully he'll be able to. Obviously, it would suck to not have him anymore. So we'll see about that. But he's going to be joining us on the show. We're going to be giving you our sort of reactions to some of what happened in the State of the Union, the insanity and the heckling and the jeering, and a really interesting response to it coming from Donald Trump that was not at all what I expected. Anyway, hello, everyone. I appreciate you being here. We are, of course, in our new time slot. If you're watching this after the fact, that is 9:30 a.m. Pacific time, 12:30 p.m. Eastern time. I believe that's right. And so we want to help everyone get notifications and know that this is where we're at now. So if you wouldn't mind hitting the like button, that would be great. Let's see if we can cruise past maybe 1,000 and see if that is enough to get the algorithm to tell everyone that we're here. We got some news, including my thoughts about a particular dumb, offensive, racist thing that Jesse Waters said, but much more importantly, my overall approach to him. I'm going to sum it up on today's show. We're going to start off, though, with a little bit of updates, a little bit of good news. That good news is cases below 40,000 when it comes to COVID. Hospitalizations below 30,000. These are predictions we made earlier this week. Those numbers continuing to inch down. Deaths also trending down, but still in the mid 400s. Hardly great news there, but things are moving in the right direction. You also have gas prices dropping by a little bit more than a cent. I don't know if this is something, if the gas prices are something that you individually are focusing on. Todd, for me, it's a sort of meta way to track overall pricing and inflation. I think that it is mapped over the past year pretty well to that. But anyway, we have other news. I want to start off with a little bit of wellness news. I know that everyone tunes in to the Damage Report to learn how to live a better, healthier life or whatever. But anyway, it is something that I would like to do. So there is this individual, you might have heard of him, Paul Rudd, who is 53 years old, but looks exactly the same as he did 15 years ago. He was asked, how the hell do you keep your appearance consistent? Is it diet? Is it training? And he stressed, saw this interview, okay, he's working really hard to get back into shape and everything. And he said, apparently, it's sleep. 8 hours of sleep. He says people will wake up at the butt crack of dawn to work out and eat healthy and everything, but then they'll undercut it with sleep. And I appreciate that. I don't think that he's wrong, but that's difficult. So telling everyone that they should try to eat 8 hours of sleep, I don't know how I would do that. Like, it seems easy enough. I mean, you literally just have to be in your bed or whatever, but I woke up at 5 this morning. I wake up at 5 most mornings, and I don't know. I got 6 hours, 15 minutes of sleep. Am I supposed to go to sleep at 9? I can't go to sleep at 9. I get off work late. Like, I literally would have to get home, eat dinner, watch one episode of Poker Face, and then go to sleep. That's not sustainable. Like, I have to relax and everything. I don't know. Is that doable for you? Is 8 hours doable? How many hours is doable? For me, 6 is what I aim for. On the weekend, 7. Whatever. I don't know. Okay, I'm being told that Frost is doing a great job in the congressional testimony going on right now. I'm definitely going to take a look at that a little bit later on today. Andrew says, John, in Super Chat, thank you, Andrew, says, you keep saying it's a new time for the pre-port. I think right back to the original time, circa 2020, 2021. You are, of course, correct. This new time is the original time. But, I know a lot of people have started watching over the last year or two, and they don't necessarily remember that. Let's jump to some other news. North Carolina's Senate has okayed limits on LGBTQ school instruction. Why not? I mean, pretty much every state is. This is an important education-focused part of the road to fascism. You don't let people learn about this stuff. And more important than just people not learning about it, It's about sending constant signals to your base. All of these different groups that we have told you to despise, to target, to try to drive into the shadows, if not into graves. Don't you worry. You go off and you do that stuff, but also in an official context, we're doing it too. That's what this is all about, and it's constant at this point. Okay, a little bit of what's going on in a couple different countries. This was an interesting update. So over the course of last year, 2022, obviously there are a number of different hacking groups that engage in all sorts of different scams and criminal stuff and all that. Specifically, when you talk about cryptocurrency hacks, $3.8 billion was stolen by these hacking groups through the course of last year. $3.8 billion. And by the way, when we say that like crypto money that was stolen is $3.8 billion, we means like official, actual, like this is just a straight up hack, a phishing thing or something like that. I don't even know what the number would be like if you were to include the people who entirely set up the cryptocurrency to scam all of the people who make the unfortunate decision to invest in it. This is just, in particular, actual hacks by hacking groups. And interestingly, you know who's leading the way internationally on this? North Korean groups. Look at their amazing hacking going on there. God only knows what that money is eventually going towards, but it's coming from people who decide to invest in cryptocurrency. Which might be getting into a better place than it has been over the past 2 years. I mean, we've mostly moved past the whole NFT thing, and I think there were so many high-profile pump and dumps and Elon Musk stuff and everything that I feel like there's got to be a little bit more hesitation to get involved. I feel like that might be helping to avoid a bit of the scams going forward. Anyway, as bad as the hacking stuff is, we have worse international news. So I was astounded yesterday, if you joined us on the pre-port, when the initial death toll on Monday in the Turkey and Syrian earthquakes had been at 2,300. That more than doubled, I believe, 7,200 yesterday. It is now nearing 12,000 individuals that have perished in that. Many, many people have been recovered. I believe something like 8,000 people have been recovered from rubble, broken buildings and stuff like that. Obviously, every day that passes makes it harder to do that and less likely that more will be. So just watching this day by day, I thought it was shocking when hundreds of people had died. The idea that 12,000 have died it's just literally unimaginable. I don't believe that our brains have the capacity to really understand what that represents, how many people that actually is. Mel, thank you for that contribution. I do appreciate that. Okay, in a moment, we're going to jump into our main story. Please, once again, help boost us in the algorithm by hitting that like button. If you would not mind, that would be great. And I'm going to jump into this video. Look, this video is ridiculous, and I could just respond to it, I guess, but it's really emblematic of a bigger problem. So I'm going to play this for you, and then we're going to talk.
Jesse, how do you see it?
Well, Greg said that what are they preparing them for? They're preparing them to beg for reparations when they're older. This is laying the groundwork. These CRT cartoons on Disney Plus is laying the groundwork for a younger generation of Black Americans to demand reparations when they're old enough to do so. Yes, Black labor in the South contributed to an enormous amount of wealth for these plantation owners. Black slavery built Southern railroads, ports, but not a lot of white people owned slaves in the South, and it was abolished in the North in like 1804. It was never even in the West. So yes, they contributed to building parts of America, but so did the Irish, the English, the Scotch, the Welsh, the Germans. Everybody built America. And when you say who built something, well, who designed it? Who was the architect? Who financed it? Labor's just a part of it. So if we're going to have a conversation about reparations, which I'm open to since I'm 1% Black.
Yeah, that's true.
And I might get a check. You have to talk about it accurately.
Okay, so obviously that's intentionally reprehensible. He's saying all of this because he sits down and he thinks, okay, my fans are racist. They want me to say racist shit. What racist shit can I say? Well, we're going to be talking about reparations, and just saying that it shouldn't happen isn't good enough. So I guess I'm going to say we're giving too much credit to the contributions of slaves, and also, yes, there should be reparations, but give me, a white guy, the money. So, look, that's obviously a thing that he created to deliver for racists. It's also fucking bullshit. Like, if you were to take it seriously, and you should not, because he doesn't actually mean literally anything that he's saying. The idea that, like, well, you know, in some parts of the country there wasn't slavery, as if there wasn't still racism across the entirety of the United States. And so the Poles and the Irish did stuff. Why don't we appreciate them? Well, I don't know. I mean, the fact that they weren't fucking enslaved, that they weren't bound by Jim Crow, that they were allowed to just live their fucking lives and develop generational wealth over multiple generations seems like some appreciation, honestly. It would be like saying, okay, we've discovered a prison, and in that prison, they've taken every single prisoner and then locked them up in solitary confinement for literally years. They never saw the light of day, and now they're saying that they want to, like, fix this thing. Well, they weren't the only people in the prison. Did you know that there were many prison guards, prison administrators? So if anything, shouldn't everyone benefit? But the thing is, look, while I can get worked up by an intentionally racist, inflammatory statement like that, one of the reasons that I'm not choosing to cover this on the main Damage Report show is, and I want you to either tell me, do you agree or do you agree with this statement? It is so fucking obvious, even in comparison to other right-wingers, that he doesn't give a shit about what he's saying. Like, Tucker Carlson will be condescending, and he'll make dumb faces, and he'll do his high-pitched laugh, and he'll try to imply that he means this stuff. He doesn't actually care. He's a millionaire. He doesn't give a fuck about this culture war bullshit. It has nothing to do with him and his wealthy life. With Jesse Waters, he just looks like a bored frat boy just shouting out something racist to get a reaction, and then he moves on. And I doubt he even remembers saying this. I doubt he cares that he said it. And so I get put in a difficult position because on TDR and on the Young Turks more broadly, media critique and oversight has always been a part of what we do. We know that these messages have an effect, these narratives matter, and so we feel like we have to rebut them. And him not caring even more so than other right-wingers not caring does not mean that this won't have an effect on people, but I find myself less inclined to respond to it because it is so fucking obvious that it's a grift. He cares so little about what's actually going on in the argument that he's supposedly making. So it makes me less inclined to cover it. What do you think about that? Am I overthinking this? I don't know. Dragonpool says, I love that hoodie. How much is it available? I have no idea of the prices of any of the merch. I apologize, but I believe it should be at Shop TYT. If you look for hoodies, it should come up. Thank you. I like it too. I like this color. I don't often wear green, but I like this kind of green. Jesse Waters just killing time 100%. That's what it feels like. Killing time and collecting a paycheck. He understands the basic parameters of the job he's supposed to do, and so he's like, okay, I'm supposed to say something racist. Okay, I'm supposed to say something inflammatory. Okay, I guess I'll do that, and then I'll go boating or whatever. That's what it feels like. The idea, like CRT cartoons. The idea that, what is Disney doing? They're trying to get kids to want reparations in 20 years. Disney doesn't give a fuck about that. They're doing a fucking show. They just want people to watch this show right now. And again, it's not that Disney can't have political messages. I could list 100 different political messages. They would be perfectly fine for them to be telling to kids. It's how dare you get them to think about something that might inconvenience me in 20 years. It's just pathetic. It's just pathetic. Anyway, that's my issue with Jesse Waters. There are others, too, that I would file under that. Like, I don't often even see, let alone care about what Steven Crowder says, because while, look, some of it is authentic, they're actually misogynistic, racist, transphobic. They're all of those things. They have all of those weaknesses and mental and emotional limitations, but, I don't know, it just feels like such an obvious performance. It makes me less inclined to actually deal with it. The people that I think can convince their fans that they're authentic, those I feel like need to be rebutted more, especially if I don't believe that they actually are. Okay, everybody, thank you for joining us once again for the Damage Report. Very glad to have you here. Thank you to everybody who hit the like button and helped make sure that people hear our message, especially as we enter into this massive 2023 that we'll be talking a lot more about. I've got Jared Jackson who's going to be joining me on the Damage Report in just a little bit. You got 15 minutes right now, and you know how you could spend that. You could go make a nice caffeinated beverage. You could go whip up some amazing scrambled eggs. Or if you want a little bit of art, patreon.com/John Iadarola. Got some fun short stories there, some awesome podcasts. Brett Ehrlich's joined me. Francesca Fiorentini has joined me. Maybe Anna Kasparian soon. And so a lot of fun to fill your time. Thank you, everyone. I will see you soon.